Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Happy Monday. No miserable Monday today. At least I don't think so. I haven't seen this video, but we got, I think, a good one here. It's QQ and his KPZ-07RH. Not one of the new tanks for Christmas. I do plan on putting some stuff out for those in the next weeks to come, so stand by for that as I get to play a few of them. I do have, I think, a Gabbler's Destroyer video that will come up perhaps tomorrow, I believe. So at least you can see some of that gameplay. Although I imagine most of you have played a bunch of those tanks already. For those, though, who might be holding off on pulling the trigger on buying boxes, I'll try to get you a little information. Because I have all 5 of the tier 8s. I'm not going to... I'll show some of the lower tier stuff, but I'm not going to mess around with it too much. Unless you guys got a good replay. If you got a good replay from any of the Christmas tanks, low tier, high tier, don't care, or interesting replay, send them to me. I could definitely use them for the content. So... welcome to a Monday and today's video for QQ4U from Clan Boops. KPZ. Is Boops still CCing? I don't know, actually. I've lost track of a lot of the CCs. We are running what? Vents. We have optics, unless we change it. And I don't think so, because we have 5 seconds left here, potentially. And a vert stab. This is a highly mobile medium tank. What are medium tanks known for, guys? According to Wargaming, their strength is what? Tracking down TDs because of the missions and stuff. I don't know, but they're kind of known for mobility generally. This one has mobility in spades. Doesn't have any armor. Has tons of mobility. Decent gun, not bad. And that's it. You know, no armor, good mobility, decent gun. Not a huge high alpha. I want to say 240 or 60 or 50 or something in that area for the alpha, but it shoots really fast, really fastly. Okay, it shoots a lot. Which means you have to do a lot of aiming, which means you have to do a lot of hitting, and which means you have to do a lot of penning. But there you go. It's carrying heat along the way. QQ Send This says, just played the game to end a bad night on a high note. That's always good. Pulled off the double flank. I'm flanking, I'm flanking. That's what he titled the note right there. And we've talked about that. So back to the mediums. What are they known for? Mobility and flanking, right? Wargaming says, what you do with the medium is you get on one of our canalized channel maps and you flank things. Good luck with that. This map does have some definite channels. There are some opportunities for flanking, and it kind of depends. Really, in my mind, the idea here with the medium is mid to late game. If you've kept your votes and kept your gun in the game, there's less guns in the game, then it opens up a lot of flanking opportunities. There is kind of strategic flanking, I call it anyway, on the whole map, and then there's the tactical local flanking, where you're in a battle changing angles and you might be able to get past somebody and start shooting them in the back and cause them to try to fight in multiple directions. Those are kind of the 2 big flanking types. We're going to see what QQ does here with these. But he says, pretty sure the Reds at least partly fell back, saw nobody was pushing ours, so took a chance. All right, that's all I'm going to say. We're going to get going. We're going to check it out and do a ride along with QQ, who always sends in quality efforts. What I like about this, and I have seen the actual numbers at the end, which look good, is that he's bottom tier, fellas, right? You want to know how to play a medium, learn how to play a medium bottom tier, and if you can have a great result like QQ is about to have, then you're doing something, and we have no sound. Uh-oh, the 50-51 fell over. He's fallen over. In the past, he could not get up, but, yeah, there we go. Somebody helped him, actually. Interesting thing, the helping, fellas. You know, it's a timer. How many seconds is it? 20, 15, I don't even remember. Somebody put it in the comments. If you wait long enough, it will flip you over. If somebody bumps you and moves you, it resets the timer. So if you're going to help somebody, try to make sure you help them immediately, because if you knock them around a bit and find out that you can't actually tip them back over, you have, in fact, delayed them turning back over. So buyer beware, tipper beware, cow tipping, all that good stuff. All right, so he's knocked a tree down here. And he's trying to figure out if he's got that tree might have wanted to go forward, but that's all right. So he backs out. Looks like he's trying to get the depression, or maybe figure out if he's got it, or remember how much there is, or whatever. There's a wait, what? What is a Toro? Toro. Looking on the wrong side. Was that a name or a tank? There's 2 Toros. I don't know what a Toro is, guys. No idea. Is that the rear-mounted Russian thing? The new one? Must be, yes. It's a tier 9. All right, that's what that is. Did it not have an object name at some point? Take that, Pershing. All right, so this is actually, and I don't know if this is one of the flanks that QQ was thinking about, but this is actually sort of a tactical flank, adding angles here as they push up to the top. You'll notice that they didn't push anybody. Look how far our tanks have got. We're pushing hard. That means, though, that means we got problems down there in the southwest, right? Greens are completely overmatched down there, and look what's going on in the middle hilly bit right here, where the 100-01 is attempting to take on 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks. There's an XM57 sort of backing him up, but not really because he's not around the corner. And of course, the other 3 heavies, they're getting pushed plenty as well by a force more or less the same as them. So the medium Zerg is doing its thing along with the 110. Nice big gun to sort of come along with them. Got a couple guys backing up, a T-28 prototype slowly moving in. So what we want to do here is clean these fellers up as fast as possible. And the Leopard burns to death. That's a bummer. So that we can then move over to the other flank. I'm flanking and help our heavies, who are going to probably start losing relatively quickly. Sometimes your heavies are just absolute monsters, not the 100-01 in this case, and they last much longer than they should, and that's really what you're hoping for while you clean up things like this. You got to be careful picking apart a Sturb. When he's not seen, he can tear you up, but that poor guy's, he's not long for this game. See ya. Evil Smiley Sturb. Good name for a Sturb, actually, because they can be evil and smiley if they're not seen and they just start plinking at you. At first you're like, whatever, it's 400, and then they just keep every 5 or 6 seconds dropping another 400 on you. That adds up quickly. Look out. No, Chimera's dead. So we did our job over here, but boy, we lost wholesale as I was talking about Sturbs and evil smiley things. Complete, absolute obliteration down there on the southwest. And a bit of a bummer, actually, because if you look at this, we're down a lot of hit points. A lot. Now, we don't know what a lot of those purple guys are. They're all showing 100% because they were not in his draw distance ring. So whatever their current situation is, that would adjust if he was able to go over there and get them all lit and figure out what's going on. So be careful with using that number up there at the top. It depends on if you were able to see what was going on. It looks bad right now though, because we're actually down a tank. Not good. And all our mediums are sort of alive, although the 260 ran away. You got to like that. He fell all the way back. So let's see what happens with this little flanking decision, maybe up to the middle. And his whole team is pushing. No one is going back. So, okay, well, that's Wargaming and World of Tanks. Not Wargaming, Players. Players and World of Tanks. It's never going to change, is it, fellas? Look at all 4 of those Mongos. They're just pushing to the cap. All right. Could be helpful. The XM's sort of holding them. It doesn't look like the purples are pushing hard. In fact, this is kind of a point where I would start to think, and maybe QQ's thinking this as well at this point, go, I don't see them blasting up the 1-2 column right there. I would have expected them to be pushing hard. Kind of curious why they're not. But they also probably saw the collapse up there in the northeast. So maybe a good number of them are coming back towards the cap or moving towards the middle. Let's find out what actually happens. Usually it's not the entire team. This is a random game, by the way. Pub game. You never know really what everyone's going to do. I do know what the cat's going to do. He's going to start meowing in the middle of my situation here. So give me a second. The old adage, never work with children or animals, comes to mind. Let's find out what... Okay, so the 260... Interesting that you ran all the way north. Nothing happened. Now he's probably thinking in his cranium, like, okay, what's going on? The Grom went back, although he never really seemed to be too far forward. He might have been up on the top of the hill right here. So he's back there. The Conway, the Proto, and I think one other tanker over there. Yes, the 110E4. The Centurion has come back to the middle. The 261 bailed out of cap, which I think is a pretty good idea. Unfortunately, now he can't really support the 260 and XM57 very easily, but he's also not going to be seen. I don't know what the Su-14-2 looks like. Maybe he hasn't even spawned in. Hard to tell. I'm curious. What are we going to find here? We're moving into potentially the enemy's flank, or maybe even behind it. Is anybody here? Is anybody out there? All right. Looks like the purples sort of got it together and decided to start pushing. And here we are, showing up behind them. Oh, Mr. E50. Doink. Oh, he wants to get away. This thing reloads quickly. He's going to get another doink. There he goes. And is he... Oh, ooh. Oh, man. I'm surprised he missed that, man. I feel like an E50 even points at me like that, I'm getting hit. Missed him again. Very nice. So we're at 1,200 damage, 673 assist. And now we've got them thinking. The E50 does not want to be killed. But, oh, he got the turret. You got to hate that. There it is. Up underneath. He backs out. E50's like, I got to get a shot on this guy. Takes another hit and then gets nuked. Did not have the oomph. Did not have the oomph to kill him. 193. What is this thing's alpha? It is 240, right? No, it's only 200. I was incorrect. Go back to the comments and delete that. Now we know. Relax. You're right. I was wrong. It's 200. Oh boy. Centurion moves in. That happens. There we go. Oh boy. All right, this guy's survived a lot longer. Look at the absolute annihilation of the push by the purples. But what do we have here? We have a double annihilation. The enemy team went back and cleaned up all the hurt guys trying to cap on that side. The green team, at least the smart players of each team went back. Let me put it that way. The Mongos pushed and got cleaned up by the flankers and the few smart players like the Object. Although I don't think the XM was ever really in the game. He sort of sat back to the whole time. But good on him. That's where he needed to be. When he saw what was going on, he probably just stopped at that corner going, I feel like we're not going to win down here. And he was correct. And his ability to hang out there with the 260 and the artillery helping. Still don't really notice that other artillery is shooting, but I think he is. Did a nice job and went back. So now are we going to have another flank situation? I can see the wheels turning in QQ's brain. He's clicking on... No, someone else is clicking on things. He's... Clowns can't oh, yeah. No lies are detected, QQ. No lies are detected. You really would have loved to see those guys either hold the north a little bit and not push in, or go back with the rest of you, and you'd have another probably 2 tanks available. You'd have still killed their pushers, and you'd have another 2 to 3 tanks on your team. That's why that's important, guys. That's why you got to stop pushing caps with beat up tanks, thinking you're going to cap. The situation was not set, right? The cap situation was not set. The requirements to cap were not set. So we're going to actually flank towards the middle. This feels a little bit dangerous. I'm going to be honest. They're already made what was probably a good choice, but then when his screen died, turns out to be a bad choice. Of course, he would have died sooner on the cap with the push right there. So he ran away, but once we won in the southwest, pushing back to where the terrain that he then occupied, and he dies because he has nowhere to go. Might have been able to, oh, look at this. Oh, Blizzwicka, no, don't do it. Oh, this is, no, he's looking the other way. I didn't see that. Oh, just caught, I think, the track, the back left track. And now we have flanked, and we are in behind these dudes, and they are in a hurting status. There's only 3 of them left. We've got guys on every side. QQ does have to be careful. I don't think he can take a hit. He can take a hit from the Concept. The Concept would probably have to high roll. The Blizz will annihilate him if he shoots him. But this guy's just running that way, hoping not to get shot in the back by this fast tank. A little bit surprised the Concept hasn't come up and over, but I think he's probably too worried about being shot. No, he's dead now. Not worried. Oh, he's just not lit. He's probably worried about putting his flank to these other dudes over here. QQ's checking it out. There goes the Bliss. That was the most dangerous guy. We can probably take a shot from each of these dudes that are left. Oh, that's a bummer. Is that guy looking? Nope, but we do have a shot on him. Nice SA. You gotta love that right there. That is a difficult skill to master, guys. He's fighting 2 directions at one time. Took that shot, backed out, and he knew that guy was over there. So you see him look at him like, hey, is this dude coming at me? What's he doing? Noticed that he was sideways to him, got a highlight, took the shot, closed him down. Top tier stuff right there. And with a nice little flank, we get a 2,366 damage, 709 assist, bottom tier, tier 8. I'm flanking. You got to love it, man. Went to the north with the medium Zerg, Handily won up there. Nicely done by all. A very standard and unfortunate split of forces as 4 Mongos went down there to try to cap when the cap conditions were not set. You will notice in this game, if you go back and look at it, that the 2 flanks were won by each team. The greens won the northeast, the purples won the southwest. All right? So that means you can't really push on to cap right now. You've got to go find the rest of their tanks. My assumption in that situation is always this. The enemy team, a good portion of the enemy team, some of the enemy team will push towards my cap. I'm going to either go flank like we did here, go up to the middle and look and see what's going on, at least help my guys in the cap, or swing all the way back to the cap if need be. And let's take the remnants of our team that's at the cap and the remnants of our guys that were pushing and clean up their pushers, because there'll be probably less of them. You'll notice their team did the same thing. They split in half as well. We just happened to execute a little bit better in this situation. That's all that happened here, right? We had enough good players make good decisions to offset the bad players making bad decisions. And when I say that, I'm talking about in this match, individually, bad player being a person making a bad decision. They could be objectively a great player, they just made a bad decision here to continue to push to the cap. If it had been a case that the other flank was won, then sure, you can push to the cap. But the problem is, if you looked at it, two flanks were won, one by each team, and you have to assume that, like I said, some of their team's going to push towards your cap, and you've got to go deal with that. Deal with their aggressive players. Always work towards their aggressive players. Try to deal with them, and then you can get the guys who are hanging out by their cap later when you've got more guns and more tanks, all that good stuff. Sometimes you can steal a cap win. That was not the case here. This is not really a map that's easy to do that with, especially if, in this case, once again, the Southwest was won by the purples down here, right? So they didn't have anything that was impeding them from swinging back to their cap. So they see these guys win. The greens won up here in the northeast, and they saw them coming towards the cap. Pretty easy for these guys to disengage because there's nobody there fighting them or shooting in the back. They'll come back down here. And as you can see, they sent plenty because they clean them all up, right? There you go. I'm flanking. That is one of the strengths. Oh, look, the sun is coming through. That is obviously one of the strengths of medium tanks in this game, especially very fast ones like this little monster right here, the KPZ. That is all I've got for this Monday. You guys have a fantastic week. See ya. Here comes the sun.